Okay, so the next hand I want to talk about is I actually ended the last video about sequencing. And so the thing about sequencing, it's probably a little bit of a difficult concept to understand, but the point about sequencing is really understanding what's gone on the last 3-4 hands. And when early on in poker tournaments, typically online in small stakes, people aren't recognizing what just happened. It's just not something they do. But when it gets deep, they really start to recognize. And when it gets short-handed, this first hand I'm showing is 7-handed. They really start to recognize and see what's happening and notice that you're doing things that you're doing, and they notice like it's almost like they go reverse from what they are like at the beginning. So you can see in this hand here I have 150k, and like I mentioned, the guy to my right has me covered by slightly, but all the players to my left don't have me covered. They all have like really small stacks, and so because people are going to fold incorrectly so often, raising becomes very profitable. And this Smidge 99, as I recall, was a pretty tight player. So what happens is these guys basically need a hand to call me with. If Junior shoves here and I open, I'm pretty sure, I'd have to look at the numbers, but I think I'm pretty close to committed. But they recognize that, and they know that, and so they think usually here I'm opening with a pretty big hand. So you can see the first two guys fold. Nines again is the only guy who has me covered. And I'm going to open, again, small 2.2x, and see if I can steal a hand here. And of course I get flatted, which kind of sucks because the guy doesn't have a lot of chips. But on a flop like that, I'm pretty much going to have to always see, but I have no outs, no pair, no draw, no nothing. It's unlikely I have the best hand. He probably has ace-x here. He could have king, king-queen, but I lose to all of that. Basically, I c-bet and take down the pot. So now they've seen me, obviously open, and I c-bet. So that's the sequence in there, okay? And now I fold for a hand, and so I fold this 5-2 hand. I don't play it. There's a flop again, check all in, and done. Next hand I get king jack, I open again, and everybody folds to me, so I win the pot. So 2 of the last 3 hands I've opened, and you can see I've been fairly active here, lost a few hands, won a couple hands, and now comes this hand where I have ace jack in the big blind, but we're at a full table again. I don't know if you noticed this again, the table's filled out, but the same players are there. This Nines guy's there, the K-Wolf guy's there, Nikolai's there, so really we've added a few players, and it's going to fold to the button here, who opens for 8,600. Now, it's going to be pretty rare I fold ace jack in the big blind to anybody who has. It's going to be pretty rare that I fold ace jack to anybody for 20 big blinds who's opening the button. It's just not often. I'm just not usually going to do it. But the issue with jamming here is he's going to fold a wide range, and so what I really want to try to do is I want to induce him to what's called spaz out, but I'm trying to induce him to try to jam. Now this doesn't happen very often in small stakes. I can tell you they don't 4-bet very often. It has to be very special circumstances, like you just raised the last few hands, like their stack size is of a size that it's possible and your size is possible. And so it's not going to happen very often. But the issue here is I'm not folding, but jamming doesn't make sense. So I raise here to, let me just see what that amount is, because I can't see it. So the pot now is 18-2, and I make it, so I'm making it about 19-ish. Which leaves him, if you think, like I make it 19-ish, so another 11 off his stack, it's going to be 80k for me to call. I'm not calling that with any 2 cards. Like I'm gonna be folding a lot here if he jams. Like I've left him definitely some fold equity, and so in his mind he's probably thinking, well, damn, there's 40k in the pot. It's almost half my stack, and I can jam light here and get away with it. But really, I don't. And I guess maybe I should, but I don't, and it's always worked for me. I don't really spend a lot of time